Well, hello. Welcome again to another edition of Storytime with Uncle Corey. Good to see you back again. If you watched our previous episode, you know that this is the end of June. Today's June 30th when I'm recording this. Last day of June. And June is a very special month where we celebrate diversity or differences. And we had a story about all the different kinds of ways that people are different, and that's okay. And for our second story, I have a very particular story about a particular individual, a crayon named Red, who discovers that he's different and discovers that that's okay. The story is written by Michael Hall, who did both the writing and the drawings for this book. So you want to get started? Good, let's go. So, Red has a little note on the inside flap here from the narrator, who is the pencil. This is a story about a crayon I know. I wrote it for you. And then down here are a couple other crayons. Hey, I'm friends with that crayon. Yeah, I love this story, says the other crayon. So I'm going to take the label off here so it's a little easier to manage the book. And we'll get started. So, as I said, Pencil is the narrator. He's the person telling the story. And he says, this story is told by me. He was Red. And by that he means Red, the crayon. Here. Good look at him. Now, is there anything maybe different about Red? Something that doesn't seem quite right? Like he has a red label, and it says Red, but if you look at where the actual crayon is, he's a different color. It looks like maybe he's blue. Red wasn't very good at being red. Here we have a fire engine red fire truck, but it came out blue. His mom is down here. Olive is her name. And Olive is looking at this and says, oh dear, that's not quite right. Red's teacher thought he needed more practice. So here's Miss Scarlet, his teacher. I'll draw a red strawberry, and then you draw a red strawberry. You can do this, really. And she's being supportive. And Red gives it a try. But he couldn't really. Here's Miss Scarlet's red strawberries. But here's Red's blue strawberries. And he asks Miss Scarlet, like this? And she's like, we'll try it again. Red's mother thought he needed to mix with other crayons. Why don't you two go out and draw a nice round orange? And there's Red with his buddy Yellow. Now, what do we know about red and yellow? If you take red and you take yellow and you mix them together, you get the color orange. So they got really excited about that. Yellow said, we're going to draw a really big one. And Red said, a really orange one. But when they went to draw the big orange, well, they made kind of a greenish one. Because what do we know about blue and yellow? If we take blue and yellow and mix it together, we get green. So that's non-orange. And Yellow says, yuck, looking at the big green ball. Red says, oops. Red's grandparents thought he wasn't warm enough. So here's Silver and Gray, his grandparents. Your class is making self-portraits for parents' night. Wear this warm red scarf when you draw yourself. And Gray says, yeah, that's so nice on you. So Red takes the scarf and he does his self-portrait. Do you know what a self-portrait is? It's when you draw a picture of yourself, what you think you look like. And his teacher, Miss Scarlett, hung up all of the self-portraits of the students up on the wall for parents' night. And when the parents all came to visit, they saw Goldie with her self-portrait. They saw Teal with his self-portrait. Purple with Purple's self-portrait. Green's a little messy, but Green has his self-portrait. And Orange has his self-portrait. And then there's Red, but Red looks kind of blue. And the grandparents are there, and Red's mother, and they're like, oh dear, that didn't come out quite right. Everyone seemed to have something to say about Red. Here's Amber. Sometimes I wonder if he's even really trying. And then Hazelnut. Don't be silly. It says Red on his label. And Cocoa Bean says, he came that way from the factory. And Fuchsia says, frankly, I just don't think he's very bright. And Grape says, well, I think he's being lazy. And then Army Green says, right, he's got to press harder. He's got to do better. And Steel Gray says, really apply himself. And Sunshine says, give him time. He'll catch on. And Sea Green says, of course he will. But you know how people can be. They all have different opinions. Red was trying his best. But it just wasn't coming out right. Here we had Green. Green made kind of a crazy looking frog here. And Black made a black sheep. And Brown over here made a brown cow. And Red tried to make a fire red ant here. But again, it came out blue. Pencil went on to say, all the art supplies, well, they wanted to help. They wanted to help Red out with this problem. The masking tape thought maybe he was broken inside, so he took a piece of his tape and he taped them tight together right there. And the scissors thought maybe his label, Red's label, was too tight, so he did a little snip down there at the bottom of the label to give him a little breathing room. And then there was Pencil. Pencil himself thought, well, maybe you're not sharp enough. So he put the pencil sharpener on top of Red, and he said, okay, now hold still. And he cranked the pencil sharpener. It was all really thoughtful. People were trying to help. But even with all the help and all his hard work, Blue, well, it just wasn't coming out the way people thought it would. His red hearts were all blue. His red cherries, well, they look almost more like blueberries. They were all blue. His red foxes, all blue. Even the red toenail polish he was drawing, it all came out blue. He just couldn't get the hang of drawing red. Here he is drawing his part of the stoplight. There's the green light, the yellow light, and then what should be the red light, but it came out blue. One day, Red met a new friend, Barry. Barry said, will you make a blue ocean for my boat? He had a big old drawing of a big boat here. Red looked at him, confused. I can't. I'm red. And Barry said, would you try for me? So Red did. And he drew a beautiful blue ocean for his friend Barry to float his boat on. Thank you, said Barry. It's perfect. Red just totally surprised by this. He's, well, you're welcome. That was easy. And Red didn't stop there. Now that he discovered this, Red started making blue things. He made bluebell flowers. He made a bluebird. He made those blueberries we talked about. He made blue jeans hanging on a clothesline. And he made a big blue whale swimming in the ocean. Red realized, I think I'm just blue. I'm not red. I'm blue. Red was blue, and now everyone was talking. Olive, his mother, said, my son is brilliant. And Amber said, who could have known he was blue? And Hazelnut said, I always said he was a little blue. And Cocoa Bean says, it was obvious. And Barry, his friend Barry, said, his blue ocean really lifted me up. And Sea Green said, all of his work makes me so happy. And Brown said, his blue strawberries are my favorite, actually. And Apple Green said, he's so intense. And Yellow said, Yellow, we're going to make a green lizard together. And it's going to be a really big one. So remember, because if you take yellow and blue and mix them together, it makes green. And Red's grandparents said, I hear he's working on a huge new project. And his teacher, Miss Scarlet, says, he's really reaching for the sky. And you know what? He was. He made a beautiful blue sky. Because that was his gift. Yeah, and maybe it wasn't exactly what he thought he would be in this life. But he found who and what he was. And he made something really special with it. So, with that, happy June. Happy Pride Month. Be proud of who you are and know that what makes you different makes you really special. And I really love that about you. All right. Until next time, I love you, and I will see you in a month. Okay? Bye-bye. Love you.